It would seem as though.
Hi. Hello. It's me again.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, I'm glad it's you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to another episode of It Would Seem As Though, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing.
Mostly. Nothing.
Well, and today I seem to have a lot of nothing to talk about.
Yeah, no, same.
I'm going to tell you, after watching the debates...
Sure.
First of all, I don't understand
Yeah.
how after watching the debates, anybody could think that man has even a lick of sense.
No.
Or still be going, that's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I heard some of his people... I watched this, on the street reporter who was
Sure.
always trying to do the gotcha thing with the idiot Trumpers.
Yeah.
And he's like, so, how do you think the debate went? And this woman was like, well, it was okay. But then when he got to that eating animals thing, there's where I was like, what?
Yeah.
And so, of course, since I, like everybody else, have my phone right there, I Googled it and found that it wasn't true.
Yeah.
And so, I'm still going to vote for him. But undecided voters, they watched that and said, this man's crazy.
Yeah.
I was more taken aback by I'm still going to vote for him.
Yeah.
I was like, but you heard him just lie.
About something so stupid.
Well, and here's the thing. And for me, I just Kamala, who just looked bemused by the idiot standing next to her. I thought, this guy's an idiot. I thought it was funny in a, tragic way.
Yeah.
But
It would be funny if he didn't have the potential of winning.
it also might be funny if it wasn't so racist. Because...
Yeah.
And that didn't occur to me right away because I didn't realize who he was talking about. I knew he was saying immigrants. But immigrants from where if you're in Springfield, Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of in the middle of everything. Where are you immigrating from? But these are Haitian immigrants that he's talking about. Good Lord, I was just attacked.
Oh my God.
I was almost killed.
A panther just jumped over here. Almost killed us.
But... it was like, oh, yeah, this isn't anything except his normal racist bullshit.
Yeah.
We're saying, oh, people from, these other countries, they're coming here and eating the animals. And, which are these the people that aren't stealing your jobs, are eating your animals? So they're stealing your animals.
Yeah, everything he says is racist. And here's the one thing is he is just a white man, a rich white man who's been given everything and has failed at everything he's tried to do, except win presidency, which is weird. But his one thing that he thinks is a bonus for him is that he's white. Because a white man, right? Because he goes after people for being any other race, any other ethnicity. Their national status matters to him. He was one of the people who railed against Obama for being, whatever.
He was the one who started the whole birther movement. It's like, I need to see that birth certificate because I don't believe he's from America.
He's also a misogynist, and the worst part about all of it is I would much rather him be straight up and say that he hates women and black people and gay people. I would prefer that than half the fake bullshit allyship where he's like, I don't hate blacks or the gays, right?
I don't have a racist bone in my body, he said. No, it's your entire body.
Yeah, what do you mean? It's just embedded into your skin cells, you dipshit.
Right. It's like many years ago, and I know you've heard this too, Margaret Cho said, I prefer my racists... right out in front. I like them wearing their white hoods and sheets and shit, because then it's like, I know who you are.
Yep.
There's no mystery. There's no you trying to fool anybody. No. You're plain flat racist and proud of it.
Yeah. That's why when people talk about Portland, the racism in Portland is so pervasive because it is so polite. You know what I mean? It's acceptable. And unlike places like the South where they had open public lynchings and there was intense segregation and shit, where it was obvious, and racists were out loud and proud. Here, everyone is way more subtle with their racism.
Right.
I would like to say I hope that it's changed, but I don't know. You know what I mean? I haven't done any polls lately on Portland.
Right.
But the last time I checked, when I did that whole paper that I had to write on gentrification of Portland, well, that's what I chose to write about. It was really upsetting, the statistics of Portland of, like, where the wealth is, what the race distribution is, right? But yeah, anyway, my point is, going back to Donald Trump, is that he just uses a minority status as something that is derogatory and uses it as a weapon, right? He's like, you're black,
right.
I hate you because of... It's just this, it's white, it's like textbook white superiority, right? He just thinks he is superior to women and to everyone who's not a white man.
You know, this is the same man who took out a full-page ad against those kids.
Central Park
5.
Yeah.
Saying they should all be executed.
Mm-hmm.
Even after it was proven that they were not the ones. Mm-hmm. DNA proof, and somebody who was like, oh, yeah, that was me.
And they were exonerated.
And he's still like, no, they're guilty, don't let them out.
Yeah.
Is it because they're now angry black men who you've kept in jail for all these years for nothing?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be angry? And I've seen these men talk, and they're... they don't seem angry.
No.
They have every right to be angry.
They seem a little broken because, well, you had them vilified by the media. Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, kill them all.
Yeah. He's a psychopath.
He is a psychopath.
Maybe, yeah.
And I also learned, because I keep hearing him say, you know, when he's talking about all these immigrants, how they're, you know, coming from jails and insane asylums. He thinks that people seeking asylum means they're coming from an insane asylum.
Wait, really?
Yes.
No.
Yes, because I heard one of his people who was no longer works for him saying he doesn't understand the difference between seeking asylum and coming from an insane asylum. By the way, who says insane asylum anymore?
But I mean, he's the right age to be saying shit that, right?
Yeah,
but that is obviously very outdated.
Yeah, but somebody needs to just put people in a home.
I am shooketh Magoo. Like, I know he's dumb and he just hyperbole and jibber jabber. He talks in circles about nothing, right?
He jibber jabbers about jibber
jabber. But the fact that he didn't know that seeking asylum, like when somebody comes to you as seeking asylum, he didn't know that there was a difference between that and somebody who has been institutionalized.
Right.
So no wonder oh my God. It's like I just learned a second language. It's all coming back to me.
Right.
Like, no wonder he was like, no, I don't want all these criminals and these crazies over here. Like, what do you mean? They're all coming from insane asylums?
By the way, people have told him, you know, it's not like no one has said, oh, no, that's not what that means.
Right, but
there's also the man who talks about Hannibal Lecter as his good friend.
Well, because, ma'am, let's just picture...
Who, by the way, endorsed him.
Right. I wish Hannibal Lecter endorsed me just for anything. That would be so fantastic. But that also means I would be in the nut house. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, because he's not real. But whatever.
So, your mother...
Speaking of crazy.
Your mother, right. She'll be 85 this year.
Yes.
So Donald Trump is how old?
78?
Okay. So let's just go back 7 years. Okay?
Yeah.
And let's put your mother in the White House.
Oh, God, no.
But do you see what I'm saying? Like, maybe they don't have the same brain diseases. Maybe he's not at the same stage. But girlfriend?
He may not be at the same stage, but it's very clear that there is some sort of dementia going on there.
Yeah, because, listen, in what you just said, like, you know, people have told him that seeking asylum and an insane asylum are not the same thing. Who cares? You could tell grandma that same thing. It's, you know, you could tell her anything and she'll forget.
Yeah.
Or she'll remember what she chose to remember opposed to the truth because she has no working memory.
Right.
And so that's what that feels like to me.
Well, and what's interesting is we have had many, many conversations about how terrible he is as a human being. And my mother has said, oh, I would never vote for him again. I blah, 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 whatever. But the other day when you were talking about it, she got all bristly.
Girl.
And, well, who says that's true? And
I know.
it's like...
That was so funny to me. Do we talk about that on here?
I don't know if we did. I don't think so.
We were at dinner. We were at a Mexican restaurant in Gresham. Sorry, my dog is tip-tapping around being a tip-tapper, so she's practicing for her recital.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, she got a pair of her Papa's socks.
Okay.
Go for her.
Good girl.
Anyway. What? Oh, we were at our little favorite Mexican restaurant, Gresham.
Ixtapa,
yeah. And we're sitting and there's 20 of us or whatever, 7. We're sitting at a
20,
long table.
7, same thing.
There's a lot of us. And Gavin and I are next to each other, and we're across from us is Grace, Grandma, Parker. Right? And then you two are at the other end. So, but then there's TVs on, and there's 2 different channels going on, random TVs, right? So one of them is all in Spanish, and it's about politics. It was about, politics in Mexico, what's happening with, like, whatever revolution is happening currently, but also what's happening in the U.S., because it's a election year. And it showed, like, poll ratings, right? So it showed Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and Kamala was up and Donald was down. And Grace, Yodada, she is like, ooh, he's going down. His numbers are going down. Bleh. Like, blah, whatever. Because, she's very excited.
Yes,
she's very excitable about Donald Trump because she hates him. And then Grandma's all, what? What numbers? Who are you talking about? And then I was like, oh, according to the most recent poll, Kamala Harris's numbers are higher than Donald Trump. Donald Trump's are, decreasing. God, what did she say after that? And then Grandma said, oh, well, we'll see about that. And I said, what? She'll be next president. Hopefully she'll be the next president, is what Grace kept saying. And Grandma said, oh, we'll see about that. And I said, well, we better hope she's the next president because Donald Trump wants to be a dictator. And she said, oh, yeah, who said that? Who wants to be a dictator? Who said that? According to who? And I was like,
by the way, is she suddenly from Wisconsin?
Yeah, every time she pisses me off and I have talking to Grace, she's from Wisconsin.
You want to try the new Vince Caboodle?
When I think someone's acting ignorantly,
they're from
Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I'm really sorry.
That is good to know.
But, like, really, though, when they're being dumb and ignorant, usually it's because that I just give them that accent.
They're from a small town in Wisconsin.
Yeah, listen, I'm really sorry from anyone in the Midwest. It's grating on my nerves, so...
I think being landlocked has done something. I'm just saying.
To your cuisine, to your accent.
Ooh, but they do have the cheese.
I mean, but you're good at cheese. And I said, well, who said that, Grandma? Oh, no one. And I said, Donald Trump. Donald Trump has said that. You'll never have to vote again. It'll be fixed. He wants to be a dictator, Grandmother. And she's all, doing that whole, like, huffy, bitchy, like, oh, sure. And then she wouldn't make eye contact with me. And she did that thing that she does when she's pissy, and she just started to move things around in front of her.
Right.
Shuffle her drink and her napkin and her silverware. And this is before food came out, so we weren't even eating. But I was like... And I looked at Gavin, and Gavin's underneath the table squeezing my knee like, it's okay. He does that a lot if I'm like, I'm gonna snap.
The crazy lady is just crazy.
Yeah.
Because every time anything comes on the television...
Yeah.
About him, I am obviously not shy about talking about what a piece of trash he is.
Yeah.
And all the shit he's pulled and all the shit he wants to keep pulling. And then Project 2025 and the different things. And so I talk about it. And if the old lady's not... I swear to God, if she's not responding, then Grace is like, did you hear that?
Hey, Grandma! Did you hear how much Mom hates Donald Trump?
Oh my God. Because if you didn't, I'm going to say it all louder now so you can hear it. Because she's also pretty deaf.
God, the impatience of that little girl. Those two together, let me tell you what.
I know. Because you have this young girl who just doesn't really understand the full effects of this, what's going on with the dementia and whatever. And has very little patience for that old woman.
In general.
In general, yes. And so... they together are kind of snipey at each other. It's like, oh my God, you two.
I know.
It's like, having 2 teenagers together.
Honestly. Well, and it's funny because Grandma will say, like, well, she doesn't like me. she doesn't like me very much. And I'm like, do you like her? Like, I don't understand.
Not very nice to
yeah, you
her.
guys aren't nice to each other. Like, calm down. You guys act more like siblings. It is interesting.
They both kind of act like cross between bratty teenagers and old ladies together. So they both act like old ladies.
But it is true. But I mean, it's just so different because I had such respect for Grandma growing up. You know what I mean? She was such an authority figure to me that there's no way that I would have talked shitty to her in any capacity, you know?
No. Same.
And so it's interesting. Sometimes I get like when Grace does it, and I'm fine with it. You guys be bitchy to each other all you want, but in my little head, I'm like, oh my god, what is she doing? She's talking shit to Grandma, you know? Because in my day,
back in my day,
Grandma was the matriarch of this giant family.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
So it's different to see how it's changed.
Yes,
it
is.
She doesn't know who she is. So.
Well, and she's obviously only known her in her declining years.
Yeah, which is so troubling. Yeah.
It really is, because she doesn't know when she wasn't this way.
Oh my god.
You know, right?
Yeah.
But jumping back to Trump for a second.
Oh, good.
Did you hear about the latest assassination attempt?
I heard about it, and I didn't know if it was true, but I said, third time's a charm.
Right. Well, I mean, because this one, he was out playing golf and heard gunshots, and so nobody even shot at him.
Oh.
I mean, that's from what I understand.
A gun just went off near him.
I don't know. I don't understand. Okay. I think somebody shot, but like clearly was nowhere not close enough to even hit him or anybody else.
I can just imagine.
So anyway, this dude was arrested, and nothing actually happened other than I think the whole thing was staged. I think the other one was staged because he's looking for a way to pull his numbers out of the toilet. And the sympathy vote, I think, is the only way to do it.
Bitch, the only way you're going to get any more sympathy is dying. So
I don't think he's thought of that.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I'd be all for it.
Same, but I mean, that's
Has anybody ever been elected president posthumously?
You know, I don't.
I mean, people win Oscars posthumously, or Grammys, or Tonys, or Emmys, or whatever. Could they win the presidency posthumously?
Please don't put that out there.
Listen.
I can't have ghost Donald Trump running the fucking United States of America.
He might do a better job.
He won't. You know he won't. He'll be more arrogant because he'll be a ghost. No one will be stopping him now.
You can't kill me.
Yeah,
I'm a ghost.
He's walking through walls. He doesn't give a fuck.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
No. He's grabbing all the pussy he wants because who's gonna stop him?
Oh my god, I saw him the other day in one of his rallies talking about that very thing, and he's like, can you even imagine just walking up to some woman and just like making out with her? That would never happen. And then on the little news clip, they immediately played the clip of him saying, well, I just don't even wait. I just grab them and I start making out with them. And it was the same clip in which he talked about grabbing women by the pussy.
Yeah.
It's like, so these are your words?
Yeah, you nasty fuck.
You're also the same guy who's flying around the world on Jeffrey Epstein's plane.
Yeah.
And says, well, he was a great guy and he, whatever, but I never knew him.
Right. Aren't there pictures of him and Trump?
Oh, tons.
But they didn't know each other. They didn't know each other at all. You stupid idiot. You stupid fucking lying idiot. And here's, the legal system scares the living shit out of me. Just because I'm like, so many things could possibly go wrong. You could have a corrupt judge be put away forever for something stupid, right? But then I think about Donald Trump, who's just a walking felony, who just walks around committing heinous crimes, hanging out with, like, known predators, being, like, this creep of a man, and getting what kind of punishment? You know what I mean? Oh, in his whole life, what kind of punishment? He's had to file bankruptcy? You know what I mean? He's had failed careers and failed marriages? Okay. He's still been a gajillionaire.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, that's because he doesn't pay people.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't pay the people who work with... I mean, like, the construction crews that have worked for him, when they get done, they have to fucking take him to court to get paid.
I hate that.
But which makes me wonder why anybody would ever... Because you would think, once you have that reputation, people would go, oh, no, not working for you.
Nope.
There are still... I know, it was his... Whatever it's called, the place he has in Scotland.
Oh.
He fucking bankrupted the company that was doing the work for him because he never paid them. And it was like...
That's shitty.
I do love, though, that now that he is a felon, he is never allowed to go back to Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
So he can't even go to his own property.
Fucking loser.
I love that. By the way, the people he bought the property from, he also didn't ever finish paying them. So I don't understand why he's allowed to get away with this shit. I don't understand why there aren't so many liens. But he also has a whole team of lawyers.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
Does he pay them?
Well, now that's a funny thing, because the ones who were his lawyers when he got convicted of the 34 felonies, there was some talk that he hadn't or wasn't going to because, well, they failed. If you didn't do your job right, well, why should you get paid?
Right, it wasn't pro bono, bitch. What do you mean?
Right? I'm sorry, but you're a mess.
Yeah, I can't.
Speaking of messes, I just had a little notification on my phone. I had to pause for a second here because my son's school is in lockdown. And I want to talk about that for just a moment.
Oh.
Because that just...
Triggering.
The whole idea is very triggering. It's very upsetting. Because every time something happens, when children are threatened or hurt or killed, all the fucking Republicans can say, oh, thoughts and prayers. But we don't want to talk about any gun reform now because this is not the time.
No.
Let's talk about mental health stuff, which you're also not going to do anything about. You know, it's like you talk about, well, we need more mental health care. Yes, we do, but what are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Yeah.
And what are you doing about the fact that we are the only nation where this happens? We're the only nation where there are mass shootings in schools on the regular. The only one. When it happened in New Zealand, they shut that shit down.
Yeah.
And it never happened again. The woman who was what is she? The president? Whatever her title is.
Prime Minister?
Prime Minister, I think. Was like, oh, no, we're going to shut this shit down right now.
Right now, yep.
And they made automatic weapons illegal.
Oh, no.
As they should be.
Yeah.
I just want to know, all these gun nuts. And, you know, we've said before, we don't care if you own a gun. No. I don't care if you own a gun. I've shot a gun.
Yeah.
I don't care. If you need a gun or you want a gun, have a gun.
Yeah.
But you don't fucking need a semi-automatic weapon. You don't need, what are the AR-15?
15.
Yeah. Nobody needs that.
Or an AK-47.
Yeah, any of those things. You don't need that.
No. And, like, listen, guns aren't the problem.
But thoughts and prayers.
Right. It's really not guns that are the problem. Oh, my God, you're literally just doing cheese wax on my floor, you nasty bitch. What was I going to say? No, because I don't have a problem with guns at all. I don't think that pistols or rifles or shotguns are the problem. You know what I mean? And I never will. It's assault rifles. It's guns that can do mass damage in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
That is the point. You don't see anyone doing mass shootings with a handgun, with a pistol. You don't see anyone doing with a shotgun, because that's not a mass shooting.
No. That is even like with a pistol, what does it hold? Like 6 bullets?
Maybe
usually 6 to 8.
Yeah.
And yes, you could do some serious damage with that, but you can't just spray it into a crowd and kill tons of people.
Exactly. And, like, it still would be tragic, yes, but the fact that we just you can buy any sort of assault rifle that's meant for war, like, that's bananas. And why does anyone need that? And people want to say shit for, like, for my protection. Bitch, what do you mean? Learn how to use something like a bow and arrow then. Do you know what I mean? Get a crossbow. What the fuck do you mean?
If you need it for your protection, a regular gun will do the trick.
Get yourself a little Glock or, and go learn how to shoot it and take care of it.
See, and that's the other thing. I don't understand, will never understand the big holdup of, well, it's a problem to want people to register their guns.
Yeah.
It's a problem for people to have a 3-day waiting period. It's a problem for people to have to insure their gun. It's all the things that people say, I don't care if you have a gun, but there should be a waiting period. Mm-hmm. People who have, criminal backgrounds shouldn't be able to get one.
Yep.
People who have severe mental health issues shouldn't be able to get one.
Yeah.
You should have to insure it like you do your car.
Yes.
You should have a license to carry like you do to drive. You should have, all these things. And it's like, they're like, well, you shouldn't have to register your gun. That's just how the government keeps track of you. First of all, dumbass. Do you have a car?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Because guess what? You register your car.
Were
you pay
born?
Insurance on your car. You have a license to drive your car. And do you think there's not a national database that says, tick, 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 here it is. Here's John Doe who drives this fucking car.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares?
Yeah.
And by the way, everybody
that
I know
has
a cell phone.
honey.
And you're just as easily tracked through that little tracking device as the one you're worried that they put in your COVID shot.
Bitch. Like, it's so banana because this is the United States of America. Literally everything you have done, your phone, your car, going to school, being born, going to the hospital, all that shit's tracked. What do you mean your personal information? It's already out there. And what do you mean that's how they're going to track you? What? First of all, if you're not doing anything Sketchville, USA, nobody cares.
Well, and unless you are completely living off the grid, you're trackable. Mm-hmm. In fact, you're probably really easily trackable.
Yeah. And I want you to know, I have at this point watched almost 30 seasons of Law & Order. So I need you...
So you're practically a lawyer.
So I'm not even a lawyer, I'm also a detective. I'm probably
you're a detective and a lawyer.
I am probably at this time a capitan. Or maybe just a lieutenant. But I'm up there, bitch. I would know some things. But they have... The technology has advanced so far. And I know some things are for show. But there are real things. Technology has advanced exponentially from... a decade ago, 20 years ago. So they can track you literally everywhere. People have access to, they have access to street cameras.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the whole CCTV thing, like you're always being watched. They can get it because buildings have their own security camera that they can also watch. Like, don't be stupid.
Well, there's that, obviously. Yeah. There's the street cameras. There's the, all of the things.
The private cameras.
But now everybody, has these, Ring doorbells so they can record the entire fucking neighborhood. I just learned recently that some cars, like Teslas and other high-end cars, have cameras on them that record all around the car. If there's motion around the car,
that's why your car makes
recording.
Well, but that's why your car makes beep, beep, beep. Your car's also aware. You know what I mean? It's not recording it.
Right.
But it's still,
But this is how they've caught these people who are, damaging cars and stuff, because as soon as you make any kind of movement around these higher end cars,
I love that.
A camera kicks on and films you being a dumb fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, so what on earth are you even talking about that you're being tracked?
Well, and here's the thing. If you're so afraid of your life, go learn a martial art. Maybe learn how to, you don't need just a gun. You know what I mean? Maybe you learn how to use something else. You have a baseball bat. You know what I mean? Have some throwing stars. Maybe a bow and arrow. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, those things are less scary to me than you having an assault rifle.
Yeah.
Or just go get a fucking pistol and learn how to use it. And this is the other thing that always drives me crazy, because it's always these dumb, fucking machismo idiot inbreds who don't wash their ass, who want to tell me that they need their guns for protection. But they're the same people who don't maintain their gun, who don't clean their gun, who wouldn't know how to do it. You know what I mean? But they need their guns.
And let's face it, they also have truck nuts hanging off the back of their trucks.
Yes, girl. But I'm saying,
because they're gross.
If you don't even know proper shooting form, you don't know proper shooting stance, you don't know the laws around your gun, you don't know how to break your gun down and clean it and put it back together, then why are you owning a gun? That is the thing. You need to know how to use it. You can injure yourself, but also, if you don't clean your gun regularly and you go and shoot it, it will jam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or misfire.
Absolutely. And I just think that if everybody who got a gun had to go to mandatory classes that taught you the basics.
Yeah.
Like you just said, how to store it, how to clean it, and make sure that you have something to lock it up in. All of the things, or you store the bullet separately than the gun so your kids can't shoot themselves. Yep. It's like the number one killer of children in this country is guns.
And then you need to tell your children, you need to have a very sit down, very serious conversation with your fucking family and be like, this is very serious, it's not a toy, and have it locked up and hidden. There's no reason. Look, we grew up in a different time than each other, but we grew up in a time and place where time stopped in Carlton.
Right.
There were guns around my house. There were shotguns.
Oh, I'm aware.
Shotguns, rifles behind chairs. There would be guns in the parents' bedroom. It wasn't a hidden thing, but I grew up in the country. This wasn't uncommon. I could go to friends' houses or people's houses, and there would be guns on the wall. There'd be guns, again, behind a chair or leaned up against a wall,
in the rack in the back of your truck.
Yeah, and I remember being at YC High, and they weren't allowed to have gun racks anymore to school.
Right.
You could have it, but it couldn't have guns in it, obviously. But I mean, girl, I also went to school and knew somebody who killed themselves with a gun in the school parking lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, guns were everywhere. It's very pervasive. And so I'm not dumb to think, oh, they're going to go away. But do better. You know? Do fucking better.
But also just, you know, doing nothing
is
saying, you know, thoughts and prayers. You might as well just say, fuck you. I don't care that your kids got shot. And I also, one of the things that just pisses me off is all of these people that are, you know, thoughts and prayers are also the asshats who are like saying they're pro-life. Mm-hmm. You don't give a fuck. Mm-mm. All you care about is controlling women's bodies.
Yeah.
You don't care because once that baby is born, mm-hmm. you don't care what happens to it. You don't care if it has food, if it has a home, if it has a secure life, if it has anything. You don't care. You don't care if it has health care. Don't act like you care about life. You don't.
No, pro-life is just forced birth.
Absolutely.
You know?
All you care about is controlling someone else.
Yeah.
You want to make the choices for someone else because God knows women aren't smart enough to make the choices for their own body.
No.
So some man has to do it, or some religion has to do it, or whatever. And it's like, fuck off.
Honestly.
Why on earth do you think that you should be in charge of anything? And why is it that men can make choices for they can go buy Viagra? Mm-hmm. You know, they can do all the things for their bodies, but God forbid a woman wants to have some kind of care. And one of the things, fucking J.D. Vance, piece of shit, after the debates, when one of the things that Kamala brought up was that there were women dying because they couldn't get abortion care. And he's like, where are all these women dying? And immediately these women have come forward and said, yeah, I nearly died. Mm-hmm. I now have a lifetime of health issues because I was not allowed to have an abortion to take care of this baby that was dead inside of me. Yeah. I became septic. Mm-hmm. I'm no longer even able to have children. I have a heart issue. I have whatever. I almost bled to death. All because you're like, women should never for any reason have an abortion.
Yeah.
You know, and when you say to them, and because I've heard it, when you say to them, so what about this 10-year-old girl who gets raped and becomes pregnant? She should have to carry that baby because she's 10. Mm-hmm. Whatever. And they're like, well, what needs to happen is that stronger laws against rape. Fine. Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
But you also need to stop letting the rich white boys who rape girls get off because they're rich and white. You might ruin their life.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help little girl. Mm-mm. That does not help her at all that you're going to make stronger laws. That, as I said, you know, that cow's already left the barn.
Yeah.
You know, that little girl has already been violated. That little girl is no longer a child because her childhood has been stolen from her. But it doesn't need to be complicated by the fact that this little 10-year-old or 11-year-old or however old is trying to carry a baby that she shouldn't even have anything to do with.
No. Well, and that's the thing with the whole abortion ban or making abortion illegal. It doesn't matter. You're just criminalizing abortion. Abortion will never stop happening. You're just making it illegal for it to happen or harder for women to have access or people to have access to it. So people won't stop having abortions. That's not you're ensuring that safe abortions stop happening, and that is more problematic. That proves even further our point that you don't care about life, because in unsafe abortions, when there's where there is the attempt to terminate a pregnancy, the mother, the person carrying the baby, and that little fetus could both die. So what life do you care about? I just think it's such bullshit. Like, you only care about the lives of unborn, unseen children, you know, and that shit. I've said this once, and I'll say it probably for fucking ever. I loathe the idea of always saying, well, we have to fight harder for the future. We have to work better for the future, for the next generation, for the future. Sure, yes, and I'm with you. The future should be better than it is currently. But we should also work our ass off for right now. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? And it's every rhetoric. It doesn't matter. Politics, both sides of the aisle. It's in everything. It's always about care about the future. Okay, but that's cool, but the future won't benefit me. And for people who don't have children, why the fuck would I care about the future, right?
Well, If you don't have children, you don't have an investment in this country, so it doesn't matter because you're a childless. Look at you, you're a childless cat lady. There's your cat.
Yes, it's true, and they're my children. So if you ever say that again,
well, and that's the thing that I don't fucking understand is like because you don't have children, you don't have as much of a stake in what happens in this country.
I know it's weird. Well, and like
yes, you don't have probably as much of a stake as in what happens in education.
No,
but it still affects you because these people who are maybe not getting a great education are then coming out of school not being able to find work, and that affects everyone.
Yeah.
So, do you have a child that's affected? No.
Yeah.
But you also shouldn't, be considered less than.
No.
Because you don't have children or don't want children.
But also think about it in a different, like, from my perspective, yeah, the future matters, but the driving force of my life is not the future of humanity, right? My driving force is to ensure that the life that I have now is a life that I would like to lead. One that I enjoy. And so I think the people who want to do everything for the future and for the children, I think that's great, but you need people like me who want to fix the shit now. Because you think you're just going to get to the future and it's going to magically be better. You're going to have to do the dirty work at some point, bitch. So why not start now?
Well, and that's just it, too. Is like it's this nebulous date of things are going to be fixed or things are going to be...
Yeah.
Well, if you don't start fixing it now...
Yeah.
If you don't come up with real solutions... And that's the other thing. In the debate when they said, do you have a plan for, how to fix the economy? And he said... I have a concept of a plan.
But I'm not president right now. I don't have a plan. But if I was president...
Suddenly I'd magically have one, but I have a concept of a plan. That's like I'm planning to plan. Mm-hmm. I'm fixing to start.
Yeah, I'm prepping to prep. What do you mean?
I'm thinking about maybe spending some time to think about it.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
That's a snorgasm. You know what I mean?
Ooh, I've never heard that before. I like that.
Thinking Bob's Burgers.
I like it.
Also, geez, Mom, don't have a crap attack.
Well, with the mess that is happening and the mess that continues to happen and the mess that they've promised will happen if he wins.
Yeah.
I can't help but have a crap attack.
No, girl, I have crapped everywhere. It's so hard at this point because the past few months have been just like a lot. I feel like I've said that a lot in these past couple years. God, it has been a lot, but last year has been much better in my life. I got no stress, other than the fact that my mental health took a downturn, and now I'm doing much better. But my body decided to take
your physical health took a
crap attack, and we're still figuring it out. But it's tiring. So I haven't really paid attention to a lot of things outside of my bubble for several months because I really need. It was too much. Already feeling terrible, and then being like, oh, the world's on fire, and Donald Trump is having meltdowns. It was too much, and I didn't follow most of Donald Trump's trial.
No, I couldn't. I wasn't going to watch that shit every day. So what I did is I would just watch kind of the highlights, the highlight reels, because I'm like, okay, I know at least what happened.
Yep.
I didn't hear what was like when everybody was watching the fucking Johnny Depp trial.
Yeah.
I don't care, first of all.
No. I did watch clips of that, though.
I saw some clips, but I wasn't going to sit for hours and hours and watch this bullshit. I saw the outcome.
Yeah.
Whatever. And yes, the whole thing was also a shit show.
Yeah.
But when you are already an empath, and your own life is having struggles, you cannot add another thing.
Oh, man.
Because then it's like, well, I'm just going to have to go lay down somewhere.
Yeah.
And go in a dark room and shut off put a blanket over my head. This is where I
hibernate. Winter has started. Yeah, for
absolutely.
Real. Yeah.
Winter is coming.
Yeah.
And the world sometimes, I know for you and for me, becomes just too much.
Oof. Yes,
and I'm like, okay, right now I can't listen to whatever this thing is. I cannot watch this horrific tragedy on the news. I will get the headlines.
Yeah.
And if it's something that I need to know about or need to be like, okay, I know this happened, and this is how this affects me or my family or the people around me or whatever, then I will learn that. but I cannot watch every bit of every horrible thing that happens.
No.
Or I become distraught. I become a mess.
Yeah, I didn't realize how heavy it was, because I remember I said I probably was stressed out for most of my life, but 2015 is when Donald Trump was like, president, I'm going to be a president. And I said, LOL, that's so funny. And then people were serious, and I said, what? Like, how is this possible? And then I think I held my breath for the next 400 years, you know? But when Biden won, I felt like I exhaled for the first time in such a long time. And I remember we were watching that together, the results come in at the house, and I just cried because I felt like relief. Granted, I don't think any politician, president, one human is going to fix literally anything. But it was more so that there wasn't a constant attack on marginalized
And then moments later, January 6th happened. And we watched that unfold live.
That was terrifying.
And I was like, what? I was so shocked and horrified.
Right?
And it was like, how is this happening? Mm-hmm. And how is this happening under the charge of this man who says he's the leader of this country?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you clearly don't care about anything but yourself.
No. But yeah, I realized how stressed out I was because of all of the shit that happened. Granted, it was like, you know, the pandemic started 2020. Yeah. BLM, the rescinding of like rights for people, the locking children in cages, like all of it for 4 years was so fucking much. That I think it like ruined me. I don't know, because I afterwards was like, I can't anymore. Like, it's too much to stay that focused on like federal politics and watching people espouse rhetoric that is anti everything you are.
And then watching him, when Trump was in office, give jobs to people because they were his millionaire friends. Yeah. Who have no idea what this job... I mean, in my prime example is Betsy DeVos.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, putting her as the head of the education when she doesn't know a fucking thing and has no business. Mm-mm. And it's like, but she's rich and, you know, she's given lots of money to the Trump campaign, so here you can have this prestigious job.
Yeah, Secretary of Education.
Secretary of Education, and then you want to shut down the Board of Education. You want to shut down all the things that aren't private. You want everything to be privatized.
And chartered. Yeah.
You know, it's like, because your kids went to private school, because you went to private school, you have no clue what it's like for the rest of us who went to public school, and most of us had to go to public school because there wasn't an option.
It's so weird to me. Why don't we just elevate the standard of education? Do you know what I mean? Why don't we just elevate the standard of education? And I don't know, everyone can go to schools where there's top tier, where there's people who are good at what they do.
Okay. Here's the problem with that.
Capitalism.
Well, yes, but it's like, okay, so you have a top tier school, that means you're going to have to pay your teachers what they're worth.
See, that's the problem.
You know, let's start with that. Let's go to the very basic. You're going to have to pay teachers what they're worth. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to, I don't know, supply your school with all the things that the kids need.
No.
You know, yes, have them buy their school supplies, but for Christ's sakes, give the teachers what they need, give the students what they need, give them real food for lunches. And, you know, it's like, that's the other thing, is during this whole debate season and all the, you know, the whatever, a big thing has been how Tim Walz, his crime was that he signed into law that all kids could have free school lunches. Because that is the only food some of these kids get.
Yeah.
And you want to keep them from getting it?
I'm going to tell you what. Lunch too?
Yeah. If kids don't eat, they don't learn. Because nothing is feeding their brain. And they
need a lot of food because they're growing.
Yeah. And I know with our schools, they get free lunch and free breakfast. And I love that. I think it's fantastic. My kids don't need it, the breakfast, because I feed them breakfast every morning. But there are kids who, that's all the food they get. And when they go home for the weekend, they are starved by the time they get back on Monday. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I wouldn't care if you ate 3 breakfasts. Mm-hmm. I mean, I say, you know, send these kids home with a little care package for the weekend. Because their parents are obviously not making enough money to do what they need to do. They're just barely probably keeping a roof over their heads
Yeah.
because nobody is getting what they need except the people who already have excess.
Girl, this is why.
And that's why I'm probably a communist or a Marxist or a socialist or something, because it should be different.
Like, people shouldn't... Oh my god, there are so many things. I'm going to guarantee that nobody who is currently living on this planet asked to be here. Nobody. You were born. You inherited this, yeah?
Yeah.
Nobody asked for it, yet we are forced to pay to have a place to live. We're forced to pay to have food to eat. We're forced to pay for water to drink. Water is plentiful. I don't know if you know that. Water is literally
What?
everywhere. I also don't know if you know food is also plentiful. And
I did not know.
in companies and stores and farmers are, paid to throw food away. The fact that there are simple things that we could do to feed, house, hydrate people, and so that wouldn't even need to be a concern. Look, if capitalism was still a thing, but it was mixed with a bunch of socialist ideas, I would be good. If the fact of the matter is that we could have housing and didn't need to pay for it, if we could have, food and water, just like an allotment. I would get government boxes, bitch, if it was like, here's food from the community, right? And it's not like this can't happen. I know this sounds radical, but it's not that hard to do, and it's not that hard to accomplish. It just is going to take a lot of people to do it. But the fact of the matter is, then people could, go on their vacations, buy their things. So it's still capitalism. People can still buy their things and still have their trinkets and their treasures and whatever. But everybody on a basic level is taken care of.
Yeah.
Like, that to me, I don't know why that is so people think that is so detrimental. People think that is so weird, or, oh, you're just a communist, you just want everyone to be taken care of. Like, I'm sorry, this nation, these people who claim to be Christian and they don't want to take care of people, I'm a better Christian than most of you, and I don't even believe in it. Like,
absolutely. Absolutely. That's kind of how I've always felt.
Yeah.
Is, and I think about this quote that I heard many, many years ago from Dolly Parton, which was, I'm too good to be a bad sinner, and I'm too bad to be a good Christian. Yeah. And it's like, I'm not a Christian. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in heaven and hell. I don't believe in most of your dogma. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I believe you should be good to other people.
Oh,
I believe
crazy
in the whole, do unto others thing. I believe that we should be kind. I believe that we should help where we can. I believe that if there's someone who has less than you and you can help them, that you should. I'm not saying that, somebody should take all of the money, pull it together, and give everybody the exact same amount of money. That's because there's going to be people who, don't ever want, or just sit on their couch and go, well, I don't never need to do anything now. I'm not saying that. Yeah. I'm saying that there's no reason for people to go hungry.
No.
There is no reason for people to be homeless. There is no reason for these kids to be in debt for the rest of their lives for going to college.
Bitch. And riddle me why we have this thing called the Statue of Liberty that has this whole quote on the bottom that's like, bring me your hungry, your poor, your sad, and your ugly, or whatever, bring me all your uglies.
Bring me all your uglies with their bad brows.
Yeah, but like, why does it say that? And then we're like, hey, ugly, sad, and poor, sorry, live on the street, like, or live in a shelter, poor,
Right. I'm sorry, it's not my problem that you are poor. It's not my problem that you can't afford food. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
It's not my problem is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl.
I want to, jumping back to you saying, how no one on this planet asked to be born.
Yeah.
Robert Smith, who's the lead singer of The Cure.
Yeah.
He is one of those wacky people who decided to intentionally never have children.
Yeah.
And I want to read this to you just because I found this to be really interesting when I read it. He and his wife, who he's been married to for a very long time, since 1988, decided to not have children. And said they have no children because Smith said he was against having children as he not only objects to having been born, but refuses to impose life on another.
Hey.
Smith adds that he also does not feel responsible enough to bring a child into the world.
Hell yeah.
And I wish that everybody could be that self-reflective and go, you know what? I would be a crap parent.
Yeah.
I'm going to not have children. And it's like, for how many years we did foster care, and all of them had basically the same story.
Yeah.
That their parents were garbage. Mm-hmm. Their parents were drug addicts or whatever, drunks, messes, whatever, that their life was trash, and they were like, well, I still need to have children, or they just didn't make any attempts to not have children.
Yeah.
But also didn't then stop going, oh, I have to stop partying now because I have children to take care of. No. Yeah. You didn't stop partying. You put your children's lives in danger.
Yep.
It's like that. Those are the people who I wish would go, you know what? I'm going to go and get my tubes tied, or I'm going to go get a vasectomy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to be on the pill.
I'm going to be on the pill. I'm going to be on the patch. I'm going to be on the...
I'm going to wear a condom.
What's the thing they inject in your arm?
Oh, I don't remember what's called. It goes under your skin and it shoots
like
hormones
any
out.
one of those things. I'm going to make sure
Yeah.
that I do not bring a life into this world that I'm then going to endanger.
Yeah.
Because if you want to endanger your own fucking life...
Do what you do,
and
girl.
be a trash bag, have at it.
Do what you do.
But not when children are involved. And that's when you should have said, you know what, I'm going to just go. And I know I've told you this story about my friend Cindy, who went to doctors and said, I need to have my tubes tied. I don't want babies. I don't like children.
Got them out, yeah.
And the doctors were like, well, no, we can't do that. You're too young. And it really came down to, what if someday you meet a man and he wants babies?
Well, then he can find another one.
He can fuck off.
Yeah.
It's like, this is my body.
Yeah.
If I want you to pull my uterus completely out, that should be my business.
Yeah.
But the fact that they wouldn't even give her a hysterectomy.
No, girl.
Or tie her tubes, or do any of the things. Because now having your tubes tied is the least invasive of all those things.
Yeah.
And it is reversible.
Yeah. But they don't want to do it.
But they don't want to do it because... what if some man someday...
I know.
It's like, who's this someday man? And why does he get a choice over my body?
Yeah.
If I've said, I do not want children, I do not like children, I should not raise children.
If you give me a
then
child,
I would
I'll
say
kill it.
to you, let's go take care of that.
Yeah. I would just be so extreme. I would just go into doctors and be like, if I have this baby, I'm going to sacrifice it to the gods. Like, you better take it out of me now. Take these producing things out of me because I hate it. I also think that as society, let's say we're in Portland should have little communal pods where people live in essentially little communes, I think. If I don't know how it would be logistically, but because I think it would be important to have people intermingle. But not only that, I would love to be able to be like, oh, you guys had a baby, let me go play with your toddler for a minute. Oh, you need a babysit for tonight? Absolutely, I'll do that for tonight. And then I'll give your fucking baby back. And then I'll feel like, you know what I mean? And then people wouldn't necessarily feel the need. The whole, it takes a village. Put that to fucking use, bitch. We used it for how long in our lives, prior to the modern century? Go get a village and start raising children that way. Because with more input, with more people who care, and not such a load of responsibility on one or two people, guess what? Those children will be happy, healthy, and socialized.
Yeah.
I think everyone should live.
Well, here, I'm going to tell you from my own personal experience.
Yeah.
So my children are adopted.
What?
I know.
I have no idea.
Shocking. I know. I've kept it a big secret.
Yeah.
Their birth mom is developmentally disabled and does not have the tools that would allow her to be a parent.
Yeah.
Now, she did not come to that decision on her own, but I mean, it was so much as things, and I'll give you a couple examples, like when the DHS people came to her house and there was like a duffel bag of knives on the floor. And they were like, you can't, if you expect to have a child in this house, you can't have that. And she goes, well, they're not mine. Oh, that makes it better. If they're not yours, then don't worry about the bag of knives that a child could get into and kill themselves.
Why is there a bag of knives?
Or when the Humane Society came and said, we've gotten reports that you have far too many animals in your house because you're supposed to have one. Oh. And she had like 13.
What?
All sick and dying.
Oh my
because
God.
she couldn't take care of them either. And she was then mad at the Humane Society because it was their fault that she was losing her animals. Not her fault that she broke the rules and had, 12 more animals than she was supposed to have.
Yeah.
And then even at that, couldn't take care of them. It's like, but I'm going to tell you that being someone who is typically developing has a circle of folks who can help me. When Parker was little, he had really severe
Colic.
Thank you. I just went blank for a second. He was very colicky, and he had there was one weekend where he never stopped crying, and he was not just crying; he was screaming because he was in pain. And all of the things, all the remedies that people were like, try this, none of them worked.
Yeah.
If I hadn't had the presence of mind to go, yeah, I can't really just shake this baby until he stops crying. Or
well, you can.
Or if I was alone,
yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine how people who don't have, people or don't have resources, who don't have education, I can see how they could end up hurting a baby because you get to a point where, you're sleep deprived and you're crazy.
I just wanted him to stop crying.
Yeah, I just wanted him to stop crying. By the end of the weekend, he was completely hoarse and he couldn't even cry anymore.
Of course.
And that was a benefit. But I had to take shifts with my husband. Like, okay, it's your turn to take the baby. I'm going to go outside where I can't hear him and go just sit on the porch.
Yeah.
And take my phone and put in my earbuds or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I need to just get away. Because I couldn't just go lay down and sleep.
No.
Because unless you took the baby somewhere else. But these are the things that people don't consider. Is these people who cannot or do not want to have children should not be forced to have them, or should not. It's like they should have all the choices to not have children.
Right.
And to have people respect that and go, you don't want to have children? Okay, good for you. My best friend, she and her siblings, not one of them has children because both of their parents, well, not both. Their dad was fine. Their mom was fucking nuts.
Nutty.
And raised them all with her mental illness, being an awful, awful mom.
Yeah.
And they were all like, oh no. We don't feel that we have the skills.
We never developed these skills.
No.
Yeah. Totally.
It's like I say all the time how picking a partner, I had no clue how to do it because my mother picked 4 of the worst men ever. And so if you don't have those skills, or even more importantly, if you don't want it, that should be your choice.
Yeah.
End of sentence.
Yeah.
Period. All the things.
Yeah.
And just a little update. I just got a text that said that the school is now no longer in lockdown. They're fine.
Oh, good.
I don't know why. I mean, I'll find out later probably why. But the fact that is, and I'm going to jump back to that for a second, the fact that is a reality of my children's life makes me so angry.
I know.
It makes me angry that is something that is just part of their reality.
Yep.
That they have active shooter drills, and they have the whole time they've been in school.
Yeah.
And that's normal. And I fucking hate that that's normal. Because in my childhood, the drills, we had fire drills. We had,
atom bomb drills.
I'm not that old. But we had, like, bomb scares.
Yeah.
And we had, what was the other one? But never, someone's going to come in the school and shoot y'all up.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't even a reality.
Yeah.
And I hate that it is for my children, and I hate that it's been normalized.
Yeah.
And I hate that nobody's doing any fucking thing about it.
Well, we had them when I was younger. Active shooter. Yeah, they weren't as common, but we definitely had them because it was we would have to, like, barricade shit and, like, hide away from, like, the window and the door and cover it and shit and stay in a corner. Yeah, it was crazy. It was different than, obviously, like, earthquake or fire drills. Yeah. It was, like, really good times.
Yeah. Then, you hear, I saw this thing, it's like, for kids going back to school, don't buy them light-up shoes.
Yep.
Because as they're running away, they're going to, even in the dark, they're going to go, oh, well, we see a kid there running. It's like all the things that you did or did not need to buy them specifically to keep them safe from this kind of thing.
Isn't that awful?
I'm sorry, but my children shouldn't even have to think about that, let alone figure out how to get locked up in a class and stay away from the doors and windows and all of those things.
Well, both your children soon are both going to be in high school, so thinking about
one of them is in high school.
I know, but...
Yes, but you're right. Soon they'll both be in high school, and then that's a whole different ball game. Yeah. And it's like, it's a bigger school, it's a huge campus, and it's like, it makes me, it makes me think, well, homeschooling might not be so bad. It would make me nuts.
You have so much
And by the way,
with
I'm
that.
not smart enough to homeschool my children. I'm just going to say that because I would have to do some online program that teaches them, and I just make sure that they're doing it.
Yeah.
Because my son, who is now in the 8th grade, has been doing math that is above my head for 3 years.
Yeah.
So, am I smarter than a 5th grader? No, not when it comes to math, I'm not. And so, homeschooling is not an option, but regular school should be an option that is safe.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this, and we need really to have someone who does something about that.
We'll see. We'll see in this shithole.
Well, right.
This
We can only
shithole
hope that
country.
if we do have our first woman president, which I would love, that she actually is going to do something about all of this.
You know, or at least give a shit. That
Well,
would be
and
nice.
that's I feel like that's the bare minimum.
Yeah, that's
just
the
give a
point.
shit.
Just please give a shit.
And yeah, and on that note, we have come to the end of our time, and
Yeah.
actually, after I leave here, I have to go pick up my son now because he's sick and apparently has reached a point where he's like, no, I need to come home. So but that being said, I'm sorry, this was all very heavy. I wanted to have something fun and funny.
Did you?
But we did have some laughs as we were being ridiculous like we always are. And we will continue to be ridiculous and talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about each and every week. And our show comes out every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And please send us your messages and
Your love, your hate.
really, really quickly before we go.
Your
I just have to share this
indifference.
with you because I know you will think this is funny.
Oh my god, what is that?
Well, our good friend of the pod, Lori Lee,
Yeah, I love
who
her.
we adore.
Yeah.
We were talking a while about the whole
Words.
gym shit where you had to climb ropes and
Oh,
whatever.
right.
And she sent me this picture that was, people climbing up the ropes and doing the thing, which, whatever, it says my generation was expected to climb a 30-foot rope with a life-saving 2-inch thick mat below.
Yeah.
And I have to find the rest of it.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, but
right now at the end, this
I
is
know.
not good podcasting.
It is absolutely not good podcasting. But she was saying how... Yeah, I can't find her response. Excuse me. But how she would get on the rope and get a few feet off the floor and never get any higher and hold on for dear life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, at least I did that. I should get some kind of a
Yeah.
decent grade for that. It's like, no participation trophies.
Yeah.
You still flunked.
Yeah, you failed. I love it.
And yeah, I feel your pain, but I never even got off the floor. So
Yeah.
my feet never left the floor for any reason.
Yeah, I know, I love that. I
So-
never had to climb a rope, so sorry about it.
But yeah, if you want to send us an email, please do at itwouldseemasthough@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. And until we do, fuck off. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
No, fuck off. We'll see you next week. Bye.
certainly will. Bye.
It would seem as though